Hi, this is Jordan Hill with the Dirt to Sky Business Podcast. And I would like to thank Collier Law for sponsoring this episode. And we are looking for one more sponsor for Dirt to Sky. I'm here today with Tom Hoffert. You are the CEO of the Salem Area Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so much for being here.
The Jordan Hill, podcast extraordinaire, real estate mogul, doing positive things in the nation to share the word of what's going on in business. So great to be here, Jordan.
Thank you. Thanks for making the time. I really appreciate it. And I'm excited to maybe go over some things and get to know you here on the podcast. And it's going to be maybe some things that people have never heard about you. So
let's do it.
Yeah. Great. Well, we'll talk a little bit more about what you do right now, but I would love to hear kind of a little bit more about you. Like, where did you grow up? You know, what's kind of been part of your journey growing up towards where you are now?
Yeah, we're kind of an interesting journey. First of all, not overly exciting as far as places I've lived. I've only lived in two places my entire life. I was born and raised in Salem, and then I exited Salem for 5 years to go to college, and then returned right after college, right back to Salem. So I think sometimes people look at lifelong Salemites maybe as, oh, they haven't had the world experience and the like. I was very fortunate for 15 years in the private sector to get to travel all over the nation, all over the world a few times. And I still very proudly call Salem home. I'm the product of two Salem Kaiser School District teachers, now retired, obviously.
Oh, wow.
So I grew up thinking I'd probably be in education, a teacher myself. But I had very entrepreneurial grandfathers and aunts and uncles, and that caught on for me. And I went to school at Western Oregon University after graduating from Sprague High School in Salem, and fully thought I was going into the teaching program. A couple years in, I realized I was really being pulled to my interest in business and switched majors altogether. And much to my pocketbook and my parents' little bit, I wouldn't say disappointment. It's just not a very financially great idea to shift majors.
They want the best for you.
That's right.
Yeah.
But so instead of being a 4-year plan, I was a 5-year project, and got done with my education and actually moved right back to Salem and started in the workforce right here in Salem.
Wow. Okay. Well, something caught my ear that you mentioned how you were raised with parents that had more traditional jobs, safe and secure. And then you also mentioned that you had some grandparents that were more entrepreneurs. And so I would love to hear a little bit more about what they did, what impact, like, was there one grandparent in particular that really you clicked with and they were able to pour into you?
Yeah. Both of my grandfathers were small business owners, one in the auto parts industry in Northeast Salem. And my other grandfather on my mother's side, him and a partner owned a sporting goods store right in downtown Salem. In fact, if you've gone in that area right now that is Taproot and next door, that was my grandfather's sporting goods store.
Okay.
And that was on the, way before the Dick's Sporting Goods and the Sportsman's Warehouse. So people truly went to their local retailer to get all their sporting equipment. You got your gloves, your cleats, socks, everything locally, a little simpler time. From the age of I worked in the fields as my first job. My parents were great about, having my sister and I get in the workforce early and understand hard work. My father always worked 2 jobs my entire life. We had one car until I was a little bit older. And my parents were just so humble and really wanted to expose me to different types of work because they were both teachers. So I locked on right away. My grandfather, Woody Lovelace, was one of the co-owners of Bill Beard's Sporting Goods downtown. And from the age of probably 13, 14, 15, I would stock the shelves with socks and, arrange boxes and do very easy work. But I got to see the work ethic of not only my grandfather, I had family members working at the business and dear friends, people who I'm still close with today. They're much older now, but just kind of got ingrained in seeing how small business works and how hard they work.
Yes.
And how many hours they work. And that can probably tie into a little bit of my career now, but that's what I was really exposed to growing up. So at home, I saw, yes, the stability of two public school teachers.
Right.
But interestingly, my father, my sister was very sick when I was growing up. And so two incomes. My mom eventually actually had to get out of teaching for a brief amount of time to full-time care for my sister. My dad would paint houses all summer long, he and his friends, and he officiated basketball and, worked as a school teacher. So lumping all these things together to help, kind of a young family be okay financially and not well-to-do, but certainly I was very lucky, Jordan, to have a pretty stable home front with both parents having employment.
Yeah. What were some of the, I guess, because the way that you described, everything happening with, working with your grandparents, your parents having to make tough decisions because they were caring for your sister, that actually probably put a lot of weight on you in many ways. Do you feel that way? Do you look back and kind of see maybe some ways that you're stronger or lessons that you've learned by having a lot of weight on you as a child?
Yeah, and going through it, I didn't really recognize my sister and I are very close to this day, and fortunately she was able to survive. I really didn't ever think about what we were going through as like something about me. We were so concerned about my sister's health. And so my parents would take her up to Seattle for some weeks at a time. I would stay at one grandparent's house and then move to an aunt and uncle's house and then to another grandparent's. And while each of those experiences is a little unique, I knew I felt loved. It was just really hard for my parents to consistently be able to be there for me at all times. And so I was so lucky to have a pretty nurturing family that had the ability to take me in and care for me 2-3 nights at a time, make me feel relatively safe. But, when you move multiple households, and I know I've spoken with Jesse about this, who he's experienced, kind of that bouncing around, it creates some insecurities that maybe you feel a little bit in life. It's probably affected relationships for me and how I look at some things, but by no means was I in a situation that I would look and want any different way. These were people that cared very much for me, but they prioritized correctly my sister getting healthy. And there was nothing that I wanted more than that as well. And so to see, once we got into high school, my sister's just a year younger than me, to see my sister start to regain a little bit of her health. I mean, my sister really didn't get a run or ride a bike in childhood. She had very severe rheumatoid arthritis, and those joints were collapsing around her. She was on the cover of the newspaper, for a fundraiser. I mean, just an incredible woman. And she, to this day now, she gets to jog and not necessarily run, but lives a very full life with my 2 wonderful nephews. And it's an incredible story for her. And our family wouldn't want it any other way. To me, hardship is not a bad thing. We have to grind to be able to appreciate the slower moments in life. So no issues whatsoever. And the pains and maybe once in a while, the aloneness or feeling, I want a little more time with my parents wasn't something that crossed my mind, because it wouldn't be fair to even think that way.
Yeah, exactly. I just love hearing about, you say it, people say it takes a village.
100%.
And you had a loving village that was your family, and that is so amazing to hear. I love that.
I was very, very fortunate.
That actually kind of reminds me how you said that, it's good to struggle. Something I recently heard that is very true is when you think of maybe your greatest strength, that it goes back to something that you had to struggle through that became the greatest strength. So what would you say is one of your greatest strengths, and how do you think that originated through a struggle?
Yeah, that's a really introspective question. Thank you for that. I don't know that I will probably be really good at talking about my strengths. I'll talk about, maybe for me, it'd be some things that I really believe in. I want to be seen, and I act as a man of integrity and character. And I have the opportunity to lead one of what I feel is one of the strongest, most positive places for people to enrich their businesses and expand their careers. For me, it's about mindset, and I will not let us fail. Failure is not an option. In fact, when Jesse and I had spoken a number of times, he was seeking, a little guidance on, hey, how do I get to that next level if I want to level up? To me, it's one simple statement: burn the boats.
Burn the boats.
We're pulling ashore and we're taking this on. And there is no exit plan. I left a very lucrative 15-year private sector career to take on a chamber that was facing some major financial hurdles. I wouldn't suggest credibility issues, but because that wouldn't be fair. But we were there. It was struggle busting a little bit, and the community was in flux, and a lot of things that were occurring. And I was just incredibly fortunate to be asked to come in and let's try and do some things different and build this organization back up. And when I walked in, it was pretty shocking. I love that Collier Law is our sponsor today. And Ryan is somebody who was on my hiring committee. So if you're not happy, you can place some blame there. I came after one of my dearest friends in the world, Nick Williams, who was going through some transitions and what he wanted to do professionally. And the chamber was just kind of at a little, for lack of a better word, Jordan, a tight point. We had some financial constraints. We had staff that we were needing to pay that we were actually paying with a credit card. So there's some business things that you wouldn't really want to be in the position to do that we kind of had wrapped our arms around. I love the chamber. I'd worked there 7 years right out of undergrad. And then I actually served on the board of directors for 6 years. So I almost wondered, am I too close to this? Is it almost inappropriate for me to want to pursue this? But I had a couple individuals led by Jerry Frank and certainly Dick Withnell say, hey, come and consider this. And then I met a lady named Kathy Gordon. Life changer. I had Laura Dorn at the table. I had Rich Duncan, and they said, hey, we're healthy. But we need to get this baby cranking again. And Tom, you'd worked under Mike McLaren, arguably one of the most recognized chamber CEOs nationally. So for your national audience, you look up that name. What an incredible gentleman. And we had lost Mike. Mike passed away while running, had a heart attack. In fact, his birthday was yesterday. And they said, hey, we need a little of that spirit back, and let's see if we can revitalize this. And it really was a pretty important moment because I loved where I was and loved who I worked for. And these are men and women that I had incredible respect for. I had grown up with the Baez family. And the president, George Puentes, the former owner, and now President Ricardo Baez, is somebody I just immensely enjoyed and respected and loved. So leaving a really lucrative, by the way, career and going into nonprofit work, my financial advisor's first statement was, you're absolutely not doing this. And I said, I absolutely am doing this. And if I was given the opportunity, and I was very fortunate. But those first, I'll circle back to Ryan Collier. I was hired and kind of took about 3 weeks before I departed one job and started right in on the other. And I started on January 2nd of 2019. On January 13th, at 10:30 at night, I called Ryan Collier because I was sitting in my office, the same office that Mike McLaren had sat in, boxes everywhere, hadn't even settled in. And I'm reviewing our financials. And I said, Ryan, where are we at here, man? And he's like, yeah, we've got some challenges, but it's the right time to make this something really special. We're on the cusp, and we have this incredible membership, and you have some staff that you're working with that and some will be there, some naturally won't. But let's just go do this. We're going to stand by you. We trust you. We need you to help us get this turned around. And I said, well, let's do it. But he was my first financial call.
My gosh,
because we were reading the financials kind of, I'd known him a little bit. They'd give me some cursory understanding, but I hadn't deep dived our P&Ls yet. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
And the thing that hung with me is paying employees with a credit card.
Yeah.
That is really probably one of the last steps before something's in a really challenging situation. So
you knew time was of the essence. Like they needed you to spring into action.
Yeah, and it wasn't a me thing. I mean, I had to do this with our board, and I had a number of great staff members and the like. But Jordan, one of the hardest things to do is you walk into a challenging financial situation. You got to change course.
Yeah.
And so we went from a staff team of 12 down to a much smaller staff team pretty quick. Some through, hey, new leaders come in. I'm going to go explore new opportunities. For others, unfortunately, you have to usher that change that you want to see, always very respectfully, because the people who have worked there and who work there now, we are givers back to this organism that we respect so much. And when you run a chamber of commerce, you're never going to, I say to people as CEO or whatever role, when you're working in a nonprofit, as much as you put in, remember at the end, you're not going to own this. It's not yours to then sell off later. It's very different from the private sector where you can put in all that hard work. And at the end, there's a chance you can either sell or you've built up so much value that there's going to be residual income. Not so in the nonprofit space. And so I really applaud our strong leaders in the nonprofit space because they truly are taking on work that's immensely challenging, constantly under a microscope. And in the end, there's no windfall. We just hopefully made and enriched that organization to be stronger than when we started. And so that's been my goal for the last 7.5 years.
I think of you stepping into this role, obviously not for the money, but because of the purpose and, it aligned with you and people believed in you. And I see you almost in a role where, not in a, prideful way, but in an amazing way where you're championing everybody together to lead, to succeed. And I think, kind of what I was mentioning earlier about your greatest strength, something that's so amazing about you that is different than other people, is I believe that growing up, you experienced those that loved you and led you. You could see that example where, they're going up to Seattle. I'm going to take care of Tom. Or I see that my sister needs, your time and so I'm going to champion her and figure out what I can do. Your parents doing that. And I just see all of those influential people in your life doing such an amazing job of that. So you were raised watching people do this. This is needed. I'm just going to do whatever I need to help, them succeed. And so I see that in what you did when you stepped into that role. You took inventory and you just sprung into action. I think that's really amazing. So, yeah. So
well, it's very humbling to think about what I quite honestly got invited into doing.
Yeah.
I want to be very clear. This is not a role that, I am very well compensated and it's just a little different than being in my older role, which certainly was a little more lucrative. But I wouldn't want anybody thinking that this is, Tom's barely making it. That's not the case. We worked very hard to be competitive in the chamber industry. And top chamber executives are doing very well in communities, but they're also building wealth within their communities. And so I think that's recognized by various boards of directors team and how they assess their staff. I really look at my role and I talk to our staff, especially in the hiring phase. And then we live it by talking about it intentionally often is we're caretakers, not just of the organization I'm at. I view myself in a very unegotistical way as a community caretaker. We need people who are champions for things that make a community healthy. We have a lot of podcasts out there, a lot of personalities, especially during election time and the like, are pulling each other apart. Hey, let's go identify every little thing that this person or that organization or that business is doing that's wrong. If we focused our efforts on the 90% of things that we all agree on, imagine the things that we could help gain success or reach new heights.
Yes.
But instead, we choose to talk about the fringes of things, the little things that we don't care for.
Yeah.
We've got to put that aside and look at the personalities are one thing, and they're powerful and they're stirring, and I get it. That's the clicks.
Right.
But if we focused on the 90% we all agreed to, we could make much more prolific things happen in our communities that we serve.
Yeah. Do you do that by leading by example and the chamber? I mean, I know you do, but are there things that other people can do to try to get that message out there? I mean, I think just as a mother, teaching my children not to, make fun of or belittle, to look for the good things. So it maybe starts there. But what can, other leaders do, other business owners, like, where does it start?
Yeah, for me, it's, and I'll talk two sides of it. Personally, I need to model the behavior that I'd want our community proud of.
Yeah.
So I am constantly asking, how can I make this better? How can I make that better? How can I bring a better side of her out? How can I bring a better side of him out? Because it's in everybody. Sometimes we just need to till the soil a little bit.
Right.
As nonprofit leaders, and I'll speak just for my industry, and I look at myself as a nonprofit industry person, we have to model how we want our community reflected. And so for me, I'm nobody's going to call me gregarious. In fact, my predecessor, Nick Williams, was like Mr. Salem, right? I'm never going to pretend to be that. I love being out and about. I love to smile, laugh, but I'm a little more reserved. Personality-wise, we just all have our own things. But one thing I think is so important for all of us to remember is we are given community trust to be in these roles. We can be hired and fired at a moment's notice. We are remembered by our last great thing, but we're even remembered more by some failures we may have. So the first thing internally with our staff, we have to be comfortable to fail.
Right.
I have staff culture to me is the most important thing. So it comes down to who you hire. And I say, you can bring me the most loaded resume, show me everything you've accomplished. That is awesome. Right. And I love looking at that and thinking about where they could take us there. But it starts to me with your attitude, your commitment, and the ability to be on time. If you can be on time, first of all, I can never teach you to do that. If I can never teach you to have great attitude. If you can do those two things and then round yourself out, there is a home for you in places that I would be employed at. We are not, the chamber is not trying to create a fabricated product. We don't sell tracts of land. We're a aspirational company. We're a place where people come to grow their business, to grow themselves. When we say grow their business, it's not the chamber, I joined the chamber, so now my business grew. You came to the chamber because you're around like-minded people that are fiercely loyal to each other. And so people get this organic growth because one of the things is they just look, something really quick, I got to grab lunch. So scan down the chamber list of somebody. But there's the other side of putting in the work and developing the relationships. You know that better than any in your industry. It is about the relationships. It's about who you're connecting with.
Right.
And we have to be so selfish with our time. Our time is a currency we often don't pay attention to, and we need to, because there are a lot of distractions. There's the internet. We can be checking on our fantasy football score. What happened at the Olympics? Dating apps, whatever that is. If you're really self-reflective and very disciplined, which I try and be, we can not be the best in all areas. I don't need my staff to be the best in all areas. So why should I have to be the best in all areas? but let's be leveling up constantly. And so when I look at where the chamber was 7 years ago, Jordan, I was pretty proud of it then. It was an honor to come in after my predecessor and look at our membership then. But I am so proud of where we are now because A, we've grown. B, our board of directors is more committed than ever. We have talent pipeline of individuals wanting to serve on all of our committees. Our events are at record numbers and people are coming to engage because it is a safe place. We are not, I say there's one, we have from Bernie Sanders to Donald Trump and everybody in between politically in our organization. And yet we are, not everybody, but most see us as a fairly balanced organization. The magic is the diversity of our membership. One thing, though, that defines all of us and is not a partisan issue at all, small business is great for our communities that we're in. And so for us, do I serve our large employers? Of course. But 80% of our members employ 20 or less people. So think about that. We are in the service industry and the connections industry and the economic advocacy industry for small businesses. That to me is back to my childhood. It's just personally what I believe in. And I ask our staff, they've got to feel that in a job interview. We have to feel that as staff. We do something very unique. It's worked for me in my career. We staff interview. Yes, we always start with Jackie doing the initial interviews and, hey, Tom, I want you to take a look. And then I'll do a little 15 minutes. But once we're tracking, I bring my whole staff in. We even get our board involved. And I know that can be seen as maybe a little risque, almost like, hey, Tom's crowdsourcing these hires. But remember, I haven't told you yet, but my staff will be the first to say, if I had to manage my staffs every day, what they're doing, I would be completely ineffective. I have so much I have to focus on. So I hire in backwards. I hire people that I never going to have to worry about. Are they getting the job done? I don't ask my staff when they come in and when they leave. My staff, we have certain step meetings and they all respect that. But this is not a place of employment where you're coming to clock in. This is a lifestyle. You don't get to be Jackie Roche in membership who's at the grocery store and you're not the Salem Chamber membership person. It's not like you can take the hat off. So knowing that, we ask our staff to maximize what you can get done. Do not put yourself in peril due to overwork. Let's work it together. That's, by the way, we cross departments all the time at the Chamber. You have to be comfortable with that. So to work at the Chamber, you can't be somebody that, oh no, this is my lane. I don't do any other things. We help. You're going to be the expert in your lane, but we all help each other. And then create a culture where people just feel comfortable. I would never want somebody to wake up in the morning and go, oh, I got to go work at the Chamber again today. Last thing in the world I want. What I tell them, the kind of my closing statement before, because when we were interviewing somebody, as much as you're interviewing them, they're interviewing you. I say this, come here to be the absolute best version of yourself that you've ever wanted to be. Forget about all the stuff that you failed at. Forget about the baggage you're feeling when, oh, I wish I would have done that better, etc. Come in with a clean slate and go be the best version of yourself you could ever be right here. And I think our members are feeling it.
Oh my gosh. I love that. Have you ever been through that moment personally where you were working really hard to move past like maybe a failure that you had, like learning how to have that clean slate for yourself and follow that advice?
Yeah, easier to say it out loud than follow it. I feel my L's a lot. Some people, I'm somebody that deals with quite a bit of anxiety. Quite honestly, just for a few reasons. It's a little bit of how I'm hardwired, and it's not my favorite side of myself. I really do feel sometimes when maybe I'm clamping down a little too hard or too focused on something or feeling a little bit too much weight. I think for me, when I am very comfortable with my team having hiccups. I don't always feel comfortable myself having those hiccups because the reality is organizational heads of organizations really don't have the ability to have major flub ups in community and keep in the roles that they have. There's more critical looking at CEOs, nonprofit leaders, key, school superintendents, principals, whatever that career is, those at the top are looked at under a very fairly, but under a different microscope. And so for me, I really want to keep our momentum and keep the positive things going. And when I do take a personal L, it hits me super hard. But I'm always very honest with myself about it. And it's important to be self-aware, but it's also important for me to surround myself with a very diverse group of friends who call it out and go, look, man, probably the best gift I can give you today is you came off XYZ. Hey, I know where your team is at on this, but I want you to be aware this happened with one of one of your fellow members. I need you to be aware of it. So for me, I've got to kind of juggle a little bit of the how can we help people link together and get through some of the hiccups that we have, but also be very graceful when we don't hit it out of the park. It's part of the process. If we were hitting it out of the park every time, all of us as professionals, that'd be a pretty easy life, right? I love the grind. I love the inconsistencies. Part of the anxiety I face sometimes is every day, and you have to kind of hardwire this at a chamber of commerce and probably many nonprofit jobs. No day is the same, and you may think your day is going to go a certain way. I talked about this on the elevator up. You thought your day was starting and going to go a certain way, and then you get
dialed in.
You get the call from a little one or a teacher or something or one of your clients and say, "Hey, hiccup number one." It's like, so how do you then react? And for me, I want a team that's skilled on how to react. We are never we are always professional. We're always polite. I am very passionate and I'm very secure with how I believe and feel things should go, but it has to come with a flexibility that most people are going to have different ideologies about certain things, and it's my role to maintain relationships despite maybe some severe differences on one or two key issues. Remembering the person I'm looking across from, however frustrating the situation is, probably 90% of things we're on the same team on. So.
I love that you look at it that way. That's great advice. Something that I picked up that you said is one of the keys is to have people that surround you that are supportive, but still can call you out, be very open. Like that's close circle is so important. And something else you said was that the chamber, most of the members that you support was 80% small businesses, right? And the listeners of this podcast are mostly small businesses, some mid. And so I think that it should be a big aha moment for anyone listening that they should not have to do it alone. They need to find that circle and that support system for those times where they're making mistakes or, struggling with something. And it sounds like the Chamber of Commerce could be that group for many small businesses that are kind of trying to wing it.
Yeah, for those, and I have all of you who are listening who are in business, I have the utmost respect for you and your grind and how hard you're working. And the days that you find yourself sitting on a jet ski on a lake, you deserve that and you have worked for that. So smile and enjoy that, because the other amount of time, we know the second the trailer hitch is pulled and we get in the car, we're hopping on the phone, looking at an email and getting right back to reality. So listeners that are small business owners, you are the best part of America today. I would encourage them, and every community is unique, but chambers of commerce in a perfect world should be the epicenter of the city's most engaged business owners. Not all business owners are of a personality that they want to be involved in the community. Some need a grind, some are focused on family, some are innovators, some are different thinkers. They want to do their own thing. But in most communities, you will find a very healthy business community that is willing to get involved. You see them at the nonprofit events. You see them volunteering. They're the first to raise their hand when a need is identified. That is very unique about America and something that should be dearly celebrated. I hope wherever you're listening, your Chamber of Commerce is a special place. It's not a polarizing place. It's a place where you can network and talk to people with like minds, not identical minds. And it should be a space that is uplifting. In fact, back to our kind of brief moments that we spoke about, the currency of time and how valuable it is.
Yes.
If you are involved in an organization that you are not feeling is a good use of your time, you need to become incredibly selfish.
Yep.
We need to place ourselves in places and people that are going to help us succeed.
Yep.
Even when it's tough and the message is hard, we're going to be cared for and we're going to be respected. We don't always have to be in perfect alignment with everyone, but I really feel there's two things that are incredibly important in my life. Number one is the role of a mentor or two.
Yes.
And I will tell you what usually starts as a business mentor quickly becomes a life mentor. So choose your mentor extremely carefully.
Yeah.
And the second is strong friends and or family. For me personally, Christ plays a big role in my life as well. And I realize that's not for all listeners. One thing I will say, it is hard. And Jordan, I'll be really vulnerable with you. And those who are locally know me, those will probably go, really, I've never thought about that. I most times will end the week, maybe on a Friday evening. It is very common that I will not get one text, will not get one invite to go do something. It is very lonely running organizations of size because everybody knows how hard you're working. Or hopefully how hard you're working. And I do truly believe most of my peers are working extremely hard. And so it's almost like, oh, I'm sure Tom's already going to be there. Or Tom already got an invite for that. Or, oh, he probably just wants the downtime. You'd be shocked how many times I'll go out on a Friday, go downtown, get a bite at Da Vinci, say out a bunch of people. That's how I build my community back if I'm not directly interacting with my friends. I don't have a huge friends group. I'm involved in a sport, kind of a fringe sport of lacrosse. So I get a lot of my personal friendships, and that time being skilled in another craft is very appealing to me. There's nothing I want to do that I want to just be okay at. That's probably, come to think of it, that's probably a negative. I don't want to be average at something. In fact, I used to play on this bowling league. They got me to bowl in a league once, and I'm just horrible, right? Now, I didn't quit because I'm not a quitter. I was one and done. And I love the people, but I'm like, I suck at this. And to get better, you know what I'm going to have to do? Like I did in lacrosse, I'm going to have to apply this over and over and get better and better. And I don't want to with bowling. So I live my life comfortably, knowing I'm not going to be a great bowler. I sleep great every night with that fact.
I was going to invite you bowling this weekend.
Okay.
Darn it.
Well, I'd love to join you sometime. It's going to be very casual for me. I hope you don't mind if once in a while I go, you can just shoot my next shot.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Actually, I just kind of speaking of, it's, lonely at the top. I heard an analogy once where something like the pretty girl never gets asked to the dance because they always assume she's got a date, so I'm not even going to try. So it kind of reminded me.
Well, I'm definitely not the pretty girl by any means, unless you're kind of into
analogy only.
chubby short guys. But I will say this community has been incredible to me. And I don't consider myself to be a lonely man, but I will tell you my career. I don't have a wife and kids. I've never had kids, never been married. You have dating life, maybe a little. I've fallen in love a couple times. This type of career in the nonprofit space, at least what I've found, and I know a number of my peers have wonderful friends and networks and families and the like. for me, it is a little bit of I have to be very independently motivated.
Yeah.
Because I don't have all those surrounding groups around me all the time, but I have incredible people that care so much. Our board of directors team.
Yeah.
And I know most nonprofit directors will say this, so it probably sounds cliche, but the Salem Chamber Board of Directors is 25 volunteer leaders.
Wow.
We have had, bar none, the most prolific business leaders in Salem has at one time either served on the board, are currently on the board, or aspire to be on the board. Do you know how humbling that is for me to get to serve? We say in the chamber, I have 25 bosses. In fact, when I go to conferences and I talk to other chambers, they're all always trying to go, oh, I'm trying to go from 13 to 11 because of the personalities. But the trait I always hear there is there's been some sort of dysfunction, and the 25 bosses decided to get into making all the soup and cutting all the vegetables, and somebody's now starting the fire, and somebody else has decided they're going to stir the pot. Our board team has said, Tom, we trust you and your staff. We are in partnership. We know how much you care for this organization personally. And so we're going to do this in partnership. And until they decide otherwise, they let us go be great at the things we're great at. And they go be great at what they're supposed to be bringing to the table, which is in spades, different perspectives, different industries, different expertise. Our board is the most dynamic, skilled board I've ever seen. And I've been around a lot of boards of directors in different capacities. They are off the hook, and they care so much about this community, and that other people will have the chance to grow their business here. Because we know one thing, Jordan, when your business is growing and you start to feel it healthier, what does it affect the most? Yourself and the people that you're caring for. Things get easier. The other side of that is we are the Chamber of Commerce. If you find yourself listening to this and you're like, boy, Tom, you're talking about the ones who are growing. We're actually in a really tough spot. Lean into your Chamber of Commerce more than ever. We care for each other. They are fiercely loyal. You don't have to walk in and say, hey, I'm on the brink. I'm 5 days away from closing shop. Just come in and say, hey, how can I help you? The quickest way to grow is to go and help somebody else grow. And it will come around because people never forget who took care of them. And you don't know the moment somebody's in. I mean, you have no idea. If I walked in that I was bawling 30 minutes ago for something, maybe. Imagine if we missed the opportunity to help somebody in a challenging spot just because we didn't read the context clues. That's where a Chamber of Commerce and the community here in Salem is so incredible, is we are pulling for each other despite the challenges that we face living in the state of Oregon, and some of the economic barriers and restrictions and everything that Oregon businesses face.
Well, I mean, I see all that you do, and I feel like I see you everywhere, at every ribbon cutting, at every important event. And so thank you for all that you do, and thank you again for being here today. We'll wrap it up in a minute, but I would just love, if the listeners could walk away with one thing that we talked about today, what would that takeaway be?
If you want to be great at something, it's going to start with you being very self-aware of what your skills are, and then being very open to where they are not. And you don't try and push the block that you can't push. Instead, find out where you can grease those skids and be great in another area, and then bring your partners around to help. If you have truly valued them and shown them how much you care about them, it is very natural for people to want to come lift with you. So if I'm doing dirt to sky and we're all heading skyward, I want a whole bunch of people, not in front of me, not behind me. I want to be linked arms, side by side, walking that path together.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that and all the wisdom that you shared today. And
I got to be on the Jordan Hill podcast, Dirt to Sky, the Jordan Hill.
Well, this was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for agreeing to be here. It was an honor for me. And
Honor for me, Jordan. Are you kidding me?
Well, maybe we'll have to do it again sometime.
I'd love to. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much, Tom. And thank you again, Collier Law, for sponsoring this episode.
Call your law.
That's right. And we'll see you next time on Dirt to Sky Business Podcast.